Tom, very good to see you. We are talking about the retirement red zone today, the 5 moves to make now. It is known as a retirement red zone, those 3 to 7 years before you retire. It is a critical time when investment decisions and market fluctuations can have a significant impact on your financial security. So, first step that you need to take, define your budget and expenses, but only 40% of people have ever calculated what they'll need to live on in retirement.
Yeah. Hi, Aaron. This is probably one of the toughest exercises I find people trying to accomplish in their planning process.
Mhm.
We all know pretty easily what our inflows are, but very few of us actually know what our outflows are. We forget to include that $8 latte at Starbucks or that extra sandwich we get at lunchtime, things of that nature. But it's vital that we understand what our outflows are,
Yeah.
especially the important numbers, the things like what's our healthcare going to cost in retirement, what's our property taxes going to cost in retirement, our travel expenses. Tom Hegna calls this the go-go years, the early years in retirement,
Mhm.
and then he also goes on to say that in retirement every day is a Saturday, and that's the day that we typically spend our most of our money during the week. So we just have to understand, okay, hey, this is what has to go out. And then in next steps that we'll talk about is how do we get there?
Mhm. All right. So, step number two, after you know what's going out, figure out what's coming in, define all of your guaranteed sources of income.
Right. Step number two is a big deal as well. So we have to understand what paychecks are going to be coming in month to month, year to year, and on a guaranteed basis. So, for example, Social Security, a pension check, an annuity payout. Those are all guaranteed income streams that we know when we wake up every January 1st, we're going to be getting these checks. And so that's your baseline to understanding how you can pay for all those budget items going into retirement.
Mhm. And then the third step, now that you know what your expenses are and your income, you know what's going out, what's coming in, whatever that discrepancy is, it's known as the retirement gap. And you
Right.
help clients build an income plan to bridge the gap.
Right. So that's where the more sophisticated planning comes into place.
Right.
Right? This is where, hey, this is what our expenses are going to be. This is what we have coming in. How do we afford to fill that gap that is not in a guaranteed income stream? And that's where your investment planning is going to come in. That's where maybe creating even more guaranteed income streams through vehicles such as life insurance and annuities. Doing your proper asset allocation planning to create income. So that's where, again, a lot of the sophisticated planning comes into place.
Mhm. And now, next, speaking of that guaranteed income, strategizing on Social Security. I know this is something that you specialize in, Tom, but
Right.
figuring out the most financially optimal time to claim is going to be one of the most important decisions you make in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. On a number of levels. For one thing, uh, the statistics tell us anywhere between 40 to 70% of someone's retirement income comes from Social Security. And so it's vital that we understand what the options are. There are literally hundreds of different options a retired couple can make on retirement. Um, Understanding something as simple as the difference between a survivor benefit and a spousal benefit could go
Mhm.
a long way in understanding or creating or maximizing your Social Security benefit, understanding the tax implications of your Social Security choices as well. So, again, another vital, big, important part of the whole retirement income planning process.
Mhm. And I'm glad you mentioned taxes because that, of course, is another really important point to consider.
Right.
Without proper planning or proactive planning, this can be one of your biggest expenses in retirement.
Absolutely. Most likely your largest expense in retirement, and one that you can actually help control. Understanding where your assets are, where your income is going to come from. Understanding the difference between a taxable account, a tax deferred account, and a tax free account. Our friend Ed Slott always says there's nothing better than tax free. So hey, maybe in this red zone, this 3 to 7 year time frame before retirement, we start thinking about things like Roth conversions, taking advantage like today of a down market, and doing some Roth conversions and getting some appreciation and some tax-free income in the future for the rest of our retirement years.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that tax-free income also doesn't affect the taxes on Social Security, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're all interrelated, but the point is start planning for it now. So, Tom, if somebody is creeping into that retirement red zone already and they want to talk through some of these strategies with you, how can they get a hold of you?
Easiest way is just to give us a jingle on the phone, 973-394-0623, or you can always email us at tjoconnell@internationalfinancial.com.
Great. Tom, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks as always, Aaron. Take care.